I want to talk to you about the budgeting app slash personal finance software. So I want to do a quick compare and contrast between YNAB, Monarch Money, and Facet Wealth. Okay, YNAB, why you need a budget. So here are the money apps I want you to think about. I want to first start with YNAB. When you think about YNAB, I want you to think about a tool that allows you to do budgeting, of course, but also do budgeting from a savings perspective. You know, in other words, you have a tool that's built on effective budgeting ideas. You have flexibility that really improves your chances of success. You have a voluminous support and educational material that's there at your disposal. You have account sharing up to 6 people. So if you have a family, you can share your account with your wife or husband or your children, brothers and sisters, up to 6 people. And you have through YNAB, you have a great interface. So that's really fantastic. On the flip side, when you think about YNAB, it really takes time and commitment to understand and use the tool. And there is no investment tracking or bill pay. So if you're looking for a tool that allows you to track your investments, YNAB is not really the best place for you. I want you to look on the screen here what the YNAB specs are. There's no free version. There's no free credit report or score, but you do have a wonderful web interface, income and expense tracking, iOS app, and Android app. So that's really fantastic. So YNAB is actually costing you about $99 a year as of the date of this show. So you're looking at $14.99 if you go through the monthly billing, but $99 if you go through the yearly billing. Okay, there is a 34 day free trial. Okay, and why 34 days? Well, after 1 month, you have just starting understanding your budget and spending. So YNAB gives you a few extra days to think it over. There is no credit card required to try it, and student can apply to have the fee waived on their account for 1 year. So 1 year, this is really fantastic. So one thing I want to explain to you is that when you think about YNAB is actually a budget solution. It's in the app's name. After all, you set spending targets for how much money you need for bills like electricity and internet, needs categories with more variance such as groceries, medical expenses, and wants optional expenses like dining out, entertainment, and donations. But you cannot actually assign dollar amounts to those categories until you have received money, like a paycheck, for instance. So transactions are either imported from your online bank and credit card accounts or manually entered. So just be careful, just be aware of that. Okay, that's really the subtle differences when it comes to a YNAB. As you can see on the screen here, you are able to categorize your expenses in a very specific manner. That's really cool. And you can see that the YNAB is very user-friendly in terms of the interface. You can see this. So you can actually use YNAB with help. If YNAB is too complicated for you to use, you can actually reach out to a YNAB. It's very easy. You can take advantage of the app's support and education services. And so from the start, you have an app that's friendly and easy to use. Most of the time, okay. And the app learns about your lifestyle and finances, as most personal finance apps do when you are starting with them, and creates an initial list of categories that will apply to each line item of your income and expenses. And you can add to or edit those categories anytime. So that's kind of cool. And if you want, for instance, let's say, to import transactions from your bank account, credit cards, or other financial accounts, you have to connect to them by logging into each account through YNAB. And YNAB actually uses multiple third-party financial connection services, including Plaid, to ensure the connections are safe and secure. So that's really fantastic. And you can see on the screen here how YNAB sort of categorizes your expenses, okay? So you can see that, for instance, it really breaks down your trip to Hawaii, and it puts the month also, and also gives you the ability to track things, but also work with other group members to see if you are making progress. So when you think about YNAB, it's really a lengthy work in progress. You are able to get things done, but it takes a while to master, okay? You probably will not get it right away, but again, it is actually worth it if you keep learning the whole process. And so the app has educational tools They are presented in a lively, entertaining fashion. A searchable help system has well-written and understandable how-to articles. You can also contact supports by email and chat and expect a response in 1 to 2 business days. And YNAB has dozens of free workshops and webinars every single week and a robust YouTube channel, so that's really fantastic. So overall, you have a very safe app that's really good. But remember the price that I told you, $99 a year, and or $14.99 if you go through a monthly billing. So something to remember. But overall, YNAB actually stands for you need a budget, and it's true. The tool is built on a philosophy of financial responsibility and diligence. So it really teaches you an effective budgeting method to help you use the money you have in a smarter way. So that's really good. Next, I want you to think about Monarch Money. So when you think about Monarch Money, what kind of budgeting tool do you have? What kind of money app do you have? Okay. Now, Monarch Money offers budgeting tools, goal tracking, net worth tracking, and more. I mean, Monarch Money is built a little differently from YNAB. Okay. So this is kind of important. So when you think about Monarch Money, you think about an intuitive system that helps you track your expenses, create a budget, and even monitor your investments. So the cost is kind of similar to YNAB. Like basically, you are paying $99.99 yearly or $14.99 monthly. So in terms of standout features, we have net worth tracker, investment portfolio tracking. You have goal creation and progress tracking, budgeting and expense tracking. You are able to categorize your expenses. You are able to link to accounts like bank and credit cards. You can link to your bank and credit cards as well as IRAs, 401ks, mortgages, and loans. And this Monarch Money has actually they have a Mac. They're available on Mac, but also on Google, on Android. So that's kind of cool. So one thing I want to say about Monarch Money is that you have a tool that includes easy to navigate money tracking dashboard, including a net worth tracker and investment portfolio tracking and breakdown process. It easily syncs to your bank accounts. It lets you actually as a user easily create and prioritize major goals. It lets users and collaborators like a financial advisor or partner for free. And it helps you track recurring expenses. On the flip side, Monarch Money is not free to use, and recommendation in the advice tab are a bit generic. If you want something more suitable, more customized, you just have to really pay a little more, okay? Or even contact Monarch Money. One thing I want to say about Monarch Money is that basically you have a tool that really gives you a well-rounded view of your finances, not just in the short run, but also in the long run. So that's really fantastic. I want to talk to you about how Monarch Money works this year, so you have a clear idea. So Monarch Money works by syncing information from your bank, credit cards, and investment accounts to give you a bird's eye view of where your money goes. So you can also, as a user, you can also connect student loans, other debts, and assets like crypto, property, and vehicles. So that's kind of good. And you can create a monthly budget and monitor your transactions and recurring expenses. You can also use the app to track your net worth over time and monitor investment portfolio activity. So in terms of standout features, you have personalized and prioritized goals, zero-based budgeting. So that's really good. Okay. So from that point of view here, Monarch Money's comprehensive dashboard and subscription fee is actually best for you if you want to see all of your finances at a glance, and will actually use the app to inform your decisions about what to do with your money. So this is the kind of value added that Monarch Money brings to the table. Okay, that's really important to think about it that way. And one thing I want to say also is that it really depends on what you want. If you want this, if you love this sort of comprehensive view of your finances, then Monarch Money is worth it. If not, you can try other apps. For instance, you can try YNAB, of course, Facet Wealth, but you can also try a Good Budget. I mean, we have actually covered a Good Budget on this show before. So if you're looking for a review of Good Budget, go and watch that show, okay? And Good Budget is really great in the sense that it really enables the cash envelope system virtually. Your first 20 envelopes are free, but for unlimited envelopes, you will pay $70 a year. And at that price point, Good Budget is a bit more affordable than Monarch Money, but it's an entirely different budgeting method when you think about it. Okay, and so you have if you want to go with the envelope budgeting process, then it might be really worth it for you. I want to talk to you now about Facet Wealth. So this is the third money app I want to review on this show. So when you think about Facet Wealth, I want you to think about an entire process, an entirely different, let's say, a budgeting model. Okay, Facet Wealth actually helps you have access to a world-class financial advisors. And Facet Wealth is really focused more on investment and wealth management. Okay, so working with Facet could be right for you if you need more support than you can get from a basic robo-advisor. But if you want someone who is ethically and legally bound to serve in your best interest and don't have the portfolio or connections to pick an individual advisor you can trust. So this means what? It means that if you want to go with Facet Wealth, you got to have a little bit of wealth. Okay, YNAB, you don't need to have wealth. I mean, by wealth, I mean you got to have a little bit of cash, like 50,000 or 100,000. So you got to have some disposable income. For Monarch Money, you don't need that amount of money. For YNAB, neither. But for Facet Wealth, you got to have a little bit of cash. Okay, so on Facet Wealth, you have up to 4 virtual meetings per year. That's the first year, and you have varying sessions based on membership tier on the second year and afterwards. Okay, you have fiduciary financial advisors, no minimum investment requirements, and you have a holistic short and long-term financial planning process. On the flip side, fees are prohibitively expensive for smaller portfolios, and they do also have a somewhat opaque fee structure, and there is no in-person meeting available. So it's one of those things where you have to really ask yourself, what do you want? Do you want to expand and deepen your investment strategy? Do you want to have a clear idea about your market sort of analysis in terms of investments, like a long run? Because anytime you actually contact Facet Wealth, you got to have a long-term view. If you have a short-term view, like budgeting, everyday view, don't go with Facet Wealth. It's not really worth it for you. So basically, with Facet Wealth, you are able to actually have access to CFPs, fiduciary CFPs, so certified financial planners. So we are already at a very different age, different level, right? Because based on if you have a long-term view already, you got to really make sure that you have a minimum amount of capital to actually afford their services. Now, Facet charges a flat annual fee for its services. Many financial advisors charge a fee that's a percentage of the total assets that they manage for their clients. 1% of assets under management is a typical fee, for example, and Facet doesn't require you to have a minimum level of assets to become a client. So traditional financial advisors only work with clients who meet a certain asset threshold, often $500,000 or more. So if you haven't had time to build up a 6-figure investment portfolio, hurdles like this can make it really challenging to get professional financial advice. So Facet may be a good choice if one of these scenarios describes your situation. Let's say if you want holistic financial planning, not just a managed portfolio or investment advice. If you are interested in working with a financial advisor but always believed they were too expensive or were turned off by the potential conflicts of interest. If you don't have time to optimize your investing and you want to outsource the job to a qualified professional. If you have reached the limits of your financial knowledge and you want to work with, let's say, a professional who can help you make investing decisions you're not comfortable making on your own. If you are currently a client of a financial advisor that puts you in investments and recommends products you're not sure are in your best interest. And if you just received a windfall and have no idea how to handle it. So let me just kind of walk you through a little bit how Facet works. Okay, so working with Facet starts with a free phone consultation. So it's basically a free phone call, and you have to really talk to what they call a Facet expert. So a Facet expert is essentially a sales rep. Don't think that this is someone who knows so much about you. No. This is just a sales rep. And if the preliminary conversation goes well, what the next step is you meeting with one of Facet's CFPs, certified financial planners. But this is a virtual call, so it's a Zoom call, a Skype call. It's not a physical call, okay? A physical meeting, okay? And if you like what you hear in those initial consultations, you become a member of Facet. So this is kind of important. And then from there, you're going to have to start going through the process where Facet will start charging you. And Facet will charge you anywhere from $250 to $6,000 and sometimes even $10,000 based on the capital that you have in your portfolio. Now, Facet also charges a $250 enrollment fee, which may be waived if you sign up during a promotional period or if you pay annually. There is no minimum balance requirements to work with Facet. If you like to open a managed portfolio, this part is optional, but included in your annual fee, you will need to deposit at least $500. So the fee that Facet charges overall ranges from $2,000 to $6,000, sometimes even $10,000, based on your capital in your portfolio. Okay, so in terms of Facet advantages, you get access to a CFP, right? Very important. You have fiduciary financial advice, low or no minimum asset requirements. You have holistic financial planning. You have low-cost investment strategies. You have a high level of transparency, so that's kind of cool. But on the flip side, just remember that this fee is really not affordable to anyone. I mean, when you think about it, $6,000 a year, that's a lot of cash, okay? And so the thing is that the process for determining the fee that Facet charges is somewhat opaque. There are no in-person consultations, and also the ESG portfolio may not align with your beliefs, because ESG really just means that you are able to get things done a lot faster. But how do you know if the strategy that Facet has for you is actually matching your needs? So let me talk to you about choosing an app. So YNAB versus Monarch Money versus a Facet Wealth. Which app should you choose this year? Which sort of money app, which sort of budgeting app, which sort of financial software tool should you choose this year? Everything revolves around what you want to have. What are your goals? What kind of strategy you have, and what kind of time frame do you have? Obviously, you have 3 different budgeting apps that I showed you in today's conversation. You need a budget is totally different from Monarch Money, and which is also totally different from Facet Wealth. Okay, the cool thing is that you have to, if you want to focus on your investment, that means you probably have you probably have more control over your budget right now. So that's when you want to go for an investment app. Okay, but bottom line is, for you to choose the best money saving app or the best financial software tool, you want to always consider your goals, your family goals, okay, and also long term and short term, not just in the next 3 months or 3 years, but 30 years from now. You also want to look at the app's features. What kind of features do you really want to have? Okay, do you want an app that offers budgeting tools, AI-driven savings features, AI-driven investment features, roundups? Make a list of all the features that are important to you and find an app that has all or most of them. I mean, chances are you're not going to find one that has all of them, but at least if you have let's say 80%, 85%, or 90% of those apps, of those features, you are good to go. You always want to pay attention to the fee aspect of things. How much are they charging? How much is the app charging? Very important. So are they charging on a monthly basis, what they're charging on an annual basis, have a clear idea about the fees in the long run, and also read reviews, watch shows like this one to have a clear idea about where to actually, what kind of tool to use to actually track your money better. So the preferred app from YNAB to Monarch Money to Facet Wealth, basically there is none that we have as of today's conversation. Why? Because YNAB does something totally different. Monarch Money does something different, and Facet Wealth does something different. But if I were to choose, I'll go with Monarch Money. It's actually the average of the two, because YNAB is really for strictly budgeting, and Facet Wealth is strictly for investment. And Monarch Money is actually someone in between. So Monarch Money will be the choice if I had to choose. But otherwise, like I said, all those three apps do something totally different. So in conclusion, to this conversation, I spoke to you about the YNAB versus Monarch Money versus Facet Wealth. I spoke to you about the money apps, YNAB, Monarch Money, and Facet Wealth, how to choose an app, the preferred app, and the conclusion. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.